Hello, and welcome to the final deadline stream of the 2023 to 24 season. And what you can see here is a little bit of, as the FPL Juice lads would like to say, streamception. This is the TV in my uni room, and I'm streaming on YouTube right now, on my TV and on my computer simultaneously. Hello! You can both hear and you can see me waggling my fingers and showing my phone on the other screen, because that is just how we do. So yeah, thought I'd show you guys that absolute masterpiece. And talking of masterpieces, should we have a little look at my final Game Week 38 team? No transfers made just yet, but it's going to be juicy. I'm going to talk you through all the mini leagues that are still on the line coming into this final day, and what leagues could be won, what transfers are being made, etc, etc. So yeah, should be a good one, and hopefully you enjoy it. It's one of those game weeks where you'd hope it's fun. You really would. It might not be, but equally, it might be really fun. And you might think, this was the game week I've been waiting for all season. But let's find out. So let's get into it, shall we? What are the mini leagues at the moment? Well, if you joined my FPL Yellow Army's Loyal Legion mini league at the start of the season, thank you. Make sure you renew it for next season. The current standings, I can confirm, in the FPL Yellow Army's mini league is the following. In first place, and fair play, he's been top of the league for a long time, still going strong. It is Dan AK with 2,528 points. Got 152 last week. Second, it's Ethan Fish on 2,498. Then in third, it's Adam Wheeler, my good mate. He's had a good end to the season, to be fair to him. 2,487 overall points. In fourth, it's Wit FPL. Fifth is Zara Kennedy. Sixth is Adam Chavkin. Seventh is Jack Sumner. Eighth, Omni FPL. Ninth, Kevin Andre Egan with Party Like a Rap Star. And finally, 10th is No FPL Oliver. So yeah, an interesting top 10 there. At the moment, it's close to see who can get in the final top 10 of the season. Because right now, in 11th, just 1 point behind, is Paul Condon with the People's Team. And then there's also Adeyemi Adeloye with 2,435 points. You got Ben White Rice, great team name, by Callum Wortley in 13th with 2,430. So I'm sat in 15th in my own mini league. I'm pretty happy with that, considering the amount of people that have joined the mini league this season. I mean, we've got well over 150, more than a 200. It's about 229, I believe. So pretty happy with that, and 15th out of that, pretty solid. But yeah, the question is anyone going to be able to deny Dan from getting the top spot? Dan AK, I imagine he's a Liverpool fan, with his team name YNWA. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, because in theory, you know, with a 30-point lead, you'd probably fancy the win for Dan there over Ethan. But you know, it's one of those things. There's no guarantee of it. There's no guarantee. And yeah, Wheeler might have a chance if he has a really good game week, but I think it's probably between Ethan and Dan. So we shall see which way the FPL Yellow Army's mini league ends. Also, those that have listened to the Form is Temporary podcast this season, thank you on the Spotify. It's been really appreciated. Your engagement and feedback and content with the pod in its first season. It's just been a great year. We really enjoyed it. It's been good experience, and yeah, it's been good fun. So thanks for those that did join the mini league at the start of the season, the head-to-head mini league, because at the minute it's Stefan with 64 points, Swagato with 61, and NoFPL with 60. Now, I believe they've got the matches in game week 38 just between NoFPL and Swagato. And I'm not sure why they've done this, almost as if it's like a cup knockout. So, in the semi-finals, as they've called them, you've had Fitsum lose to Swagato, and NoFPL beat Stefan. So, whether or not their matchup, Stefan, Swagato and NoFPL, means anything, I'm not sure. But the overall gist of it is, Stefan's 3 points ahead. The bottom three at the moment, Average, Sylvester and Barry, and I'm sat in 14th, safe from relegation. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think whatever happens, thanks for those that have joined this season. Stefan, Swagato, NoFPL, Fitsum, Ben Vokes, FPL Baskets, Joe, Root, Christian, Bogard, Ulrichsen, FPL Ullen, Benjamin Deshay, Chris, George White, Tosu, Jamie Burgoyne, Bassel Agha, Finley Smithson, Ola Sabomi, Barry Clark, and Sylvester Kofidze. But yeah, whether or not anyone wins that, let's find out and see. And in terms of mini leagues I can win then, let's discuss. Because this is huge. This is absolutely massive. And there's a chance I can get the dub in these mini leagues, but it's not guaranteed. We will see. So in terms of which mini leagues can I win, it's also worth noting, out of the 79 Content Creators League, I'm 40th, which is pretty good. It's slightly over half. We take that. Now, whether I can, do well at the end of this game week, we'll have to see. But currently above the likes of Planet FPL Pod James, Laterizer, Rich Clark FPL and Holly Shand. So all very good content creators and above all of them. And so yeah, I'm currently on 2428 overall points. And I'm just snuck level with FPL Families Lee Bonfield. And not too far away from FPL Modes Andy from FPL Black Box and Scout. He's on 2443, I believe. So not far off, and hoping to finish above him and Lee. But also in the Juice Pundits League, where I would have finished, could be anywhere between 7th and 2nd. Fair play to FPL Graduates Josh, 2524 overall points, well ahead. But Ben Brown on 2446. Then you got Tom FPL Lucky 244 4, and then Nima on 2438, and I'm on 2428, and then right behind me, the Eleanor FPL and FPL Semi Casual on 2407, I believe. So it's all to play for. It's really all to play for, and it feels like this point, there's definitely a chance for some magic to happen. That where the real magic is going to be is in the mini leagues that I could wrap home and take the title, like Arsenal or Man City today. So, the Straw League, of course, best families, members and cousins and uncles, is looking good. Is looking good because I'm top at the moment, up against Jake, right? 2428 overall points. He's on 2412. So it's a gap of 16 points, which looks pretty good. But what I will say is our teams have some similarities. Not loads, though. Not loads. So if I just run through Jake's team. So he's got, at the minute, 1 free transfer, 2.3 in the bank, which is a interesting decision whether he makes a hit or he goes for it. But he's got Dubravka and Pickford in goal. So if Dubravka gets benched against Brentford and then Pickford's facing Arsenal, that would be ideal for me. Then he's got a back five of Branthwaite, Pedro Porro, Ake, who didn't play in the first game the full 90 because he got injured and then missed the Spurs game. So hopefully Ake won't be fit for him. And then Chalobah for Chelsea and Saliba. And then his midfield, he's got De Bruyne, who's a slight injury doubt, but should be fine. Saka, who's a slight injury doubt, but should be fine. Gordon, who's a doubt, probably won't play. Palmer and Hudson-Odoi. And then he's got Isak, Jackson and Haaland as a front three. If you look at my team, before transfers made, Vicario in goal with Onana on the bench. Then it's Gvardiol, Porro, Cucurella, Emil Kraft and Lewis Dunk, who I'm leaving on the bench, Lewis Dunk. Then the midfield, Foden, Fernandes, Son, Palmer, Gordon. And then Welbeck, Haaland, Isak. So, as you can see there, if you compare the two teams, there are some similarities. Both of us have Haaland and Isak. The difference is Jackson versus Welbeck. Then in midfield, I've got Bruno. He hasn't got Bruno. And he's got Saka. I haven't got Saka. He's got De Bruyne. I haven't got De Bruyne. I've just got Foden instead. And then Hudson-Odoi is a differential he's got on me. I've got, obviously, Son. So Son could be huge for me this week against him. Defensively, I mean, I've got Porro, he's got Porro. He hasn't got a City defender because Ake is injured at the moment. So Gvardiol should hopefully beat that. Then Branthwaite, I've got instead an injured Dunk on my bench, but that's fine. We can just not play him. It's Emil Kraft up against Saliba, which doesn't look good. But again, I won't be playing Kraft probably, so that's fine. But it's a thing to think about. Arsenal defenders, a lot of people have them. But I'm not going to make a defensive transfer on the final day. So it's one of those things I'm just going to have to suck up, I think. Then the final difference is, in my team, I've got, a decent pick of Cucurella, whereas he's got Chalobah, who, could be okay. But it's a small difference there. So, yeah, interesting to see the differences. Obviously, I've got Vicario and Onana. He's got Dubravka and Pickford. So, yeah, wonder what the kind of differences are there. When you think about the fact it's a 16-point gap, do I bring in someone that he already has just to block him? Could be a strat, Mourinho style. Or I bring in someone different that nobody has to try and boost my rank and get a good rank. Because at the minute, my overall rank is 82k. I want to finish higher than that, ideally. But it's not the worst rank you've ever seen, inside the top 100k. Last season, top 18k. My worst season has been, 3.3 million back in my first season in 18-19. Then 19-20, 1.8 million. 20-21, 267k. 21-22, 109k. And last season, 18k. So this season, if I finished below 109k, my 21 to 22 rank, that would be disappointing. So I want to push on beyond 100k. If I can get into the top 50k, that would be amazing, but it seems unlikely, being at 82 at the moment. I'd have to have an amazing game week, and everyone's got very similar players to me. So, I mean, my differentials, Welbeck, he scored in the reverse fixture. I'll be starting him. It's just whether or not I sell Isak or not and just leave him there. Probably will just play Isak because it's an attacker, and selling an attacker usually doesn't pay off unless there's one essential player. And I think the more essential move to not get an Isak replacement like a Gakpo or a Mateta is to get a Bruno Fernandes replacement, because it means that I can then bench Gordon, start Welbeck and go for one of the Palace mids, the Arsenal mids, the Liverpool mids, etc. I can't afford Salah unless I take a -8, which I don't want to be doing in the case of that mini-league rivalry. And a -4 won't get me Salah. Again, I could go Isak to another striker and then do Fernandes to a midfielder, but is it worth taking -4s at this stage of a season? I don't know. It could be, but it's more fun to take -4s, but it's also, when you're winning mini leagues like that straw one, it's probably not worth it, is it? So an Isak should be fine, hopefully. So yeah, at the minute, Vicario's starting in goal. Then a back three of Gvardiol, Porro and Cucurella. Foden, Fernandes, Son and Palmer, pretty template and pretty solid midfield. Not changing Foden, not changing Son, not changing Palmer. Fernandes is probably going to go. It's just who for, really. And then it's the front three of Welbeck, Haaland, Isak. I could change Isak. I don't hate that. Don't hate that at all. But I don't know. It's -4 foolish, considering even if I don't win a lot of these mini leagues, I need to get a decent rank. And the hits pay off on the final day sometimes, but it doesn't feel worth it, does it? I want to definitely not get less than 100k, and if I take a -4, then I could drop into that. So I really need to think about it. I don't want to kill my rank with a -4, but let's say I brought in, I don't know, Mateta and he went off, he could also boost it. So it's a difficult decision. I definitely am selling Fernandes. It's just whether I also then do Isak as a -4. I don't think it's worth it. I think just one transfer. But the problem is, if I look at some of those mini leagues that I was talking about, I was mentioning wanting to beat FPL Family Lee, and I could bring in Havertz. Well, he's already got Kai Havertz. So that's the problem, is if I want to finish above him, can I bring in someone he's already got? We're on the same number of points. So in theory, me bringing in Havertz is blocking him, but it's not blocking a lead, it's just on level footing. So Havertz could do really well, and I could look like a fool for not bringing him in. But I also think if I bring in Havertz, and that's the difference between this game week, then he might still finish above me. Whereas if I bring in someone different who could get more, then that could be the difference of beating him. So my thinking is Fernandes to an Arsenal or Palace midfielder. The problem is with Arsenal midfielders, as I said, Havertz is already owned by him. Then you've got Eze, who is owned by someone in one of the mini leagues I'm trying to win, which kind of is a bit of a shame. If I look at my mini leagues, so in terms of as well as the Straw League, you've also got some other mini leagues that I could win. The University of Lincoln Match of the Day Society League, Josh Brackstone on 2417, and the winner or leader at the moment 2443. I'm sandwiched in between that at 2428. So you could look at that and think, oh, you know, it's worth going for a Palace midfielder or a Liverpool midfielder. But then you look at those two teams. The top of the league for that Match of the Day Society mini league has Eberechi Eze. Now, I did leave them on the bench last week, but that's, I guess, understandable because, you know, I don't think they had bench boost. They'd already used it in game week 34, and they wanted to play the double game weekers. So fair play. Although they did start Saka over Eze with just a single fixture, but I suppose that's understandable. It's Bukayo Saka. So yeah, I think he probably. I mean, will he even start Eberechi Eze with that stacked team? He's got Isak, Jackson, Haaland, Son, Foden, Saka, Palmer. Not many players he can bench in that front four of the midfield, and then the front three. So he probably plays Eze, but if he forgets to make transfers, then he doesn't. But even so, I think going for Eze doesn't make sense because of that. So then you're looking at Elise, and I talked about, you know, Lee having Havertz. So then I'm thinking Trossard. The problem with Trossard is he often comes off before 90. Now, he could score all the goals before he does that, and it won't be an issue. But people are like, oh, why would you buy a player who's got lower expected minutes? So then it's Trossard or Elise as my two options. I could look at a Liverpool midfielder, but, you know, outside of Salah, I'm not sure I want anyone. Diaz, not too keen. Gakpo I can get, but only as a forward, so I don't know if I want to do that when Isak for a -4 doesn't feel worth it. So yeah, it's basically Elise or Trossard, or something crazy else, but I wouldn't get Gibbs White because it's just not a priority at the moment. Then it's maybe going for like a Tottenham player, but the problem is I've got triple Spurs, so I can't do that. So it leaves me down to Elise or Trossard basically. And who do I think gets more minutes? Elise. Who do I think has more to play for? Trossard. So I kind of don't want either of them, really. I like both of them for their different reasons, but I wish there was someone else I could go for that, you know, was a bit more, I don't know, exciting and guarantee points. Elise is probably the move, but having no Arsenal going into a title final for Arsenal against Everton doesn't feel great, I'll be honest. But Fernandes to Elise is probably the transfer I'm going to do. So I think I'm going to make that move, just because even though Palace have got nothing to play for, that game should have goals. Because, this is, at the end of the day, a Villa team that have secured Champions League. You can't just always think about players that have got something to play for. You also have to think about players that don't have stuff to play for and the defences that make up those teams. And Aston Villa are one of those. So I think Elise is the one. Now, I know that in Twitter, everyone's bringing him in. But in the overall game itself, he'll still be differential. And in mini leagues, he may not be differential if lots of people bring him in. But I'm looking at it and thinking, he's a player that makes a lot of sense. Go for him, why not? It could pay off. So Elise for Fernandes is my transfer locked in for the game week. In terms of captaincy then, if we just look at these fixtures very quickly, I think most likely the captaincy is going to fall on Erling Haaland. Even though I'm kind of trying to win mini leagues, as I said, with second in the match of the day, third in FPL apprentices, trying to wrap up a head-to-head league as well, Quest for Glory, Division 1. My thinking there is I'd probably do captain Haaland just because, do I want to kill my rank? No. Son, I don't think is in good enough form to captain him. Then you're looking at Foden. Yeah, could do well. But the problem with going against Haaland is if it goes badly, it will be catastrophic. If it goes well, it won't really help my rank much. But I'm just too scared. I'm just too scared of it going badly. Palmer could be a good shout as well. I mean, at 82k, that's a decent rank. It's not like I was ranked 300k and I had nothing to lose. I have something to lose here, because I think top 100k is a decent rank for this season. It's been a tough season. So, am I willing to lose that potential decent rank with a silly captain? No, I don't think so. Now, don't get me wrong, Palmer and Foden could both also do well, but it's Haaland and it's a home game. He loves playing West Ham and they're fighting for the title. So, all of these things just stack up against me going for someone other than Haaland, and therefore I can't be doing it. I just don't think it's worth it. So, Captain Haaland, that's the team. When Fernandes moves to Elise, then I'll be locked in. Most likely, that will be my move. And then I just hope and pray. I just hope and pray that those mini leagues can be won. But thanks for watching, for a fun time this season. Put in the comments, firstly, how have you found this season? Because I've found it really hard. Enjoyed bits of it, but the last 10 game weeks has been a real slug. It's been a real, really difficult run. And then what transfer are you making for the final day? So yeah, get it in the comments and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye everybody.